is Remy. I'm with EthStaker, and today we're glad to have another community call with the great team from SafeStake. Yeah. But first of all, let me introduce everyone. We have Anvedika, who's doing the technical background stuff. Hello, Anvedika. We have Nix, who is also from the EthStaker crew. From the SafeStake team, we've got Chris. Hello, Chris. How you doing
Hey
today?
guys, how you doing?
Awesome. We also have Dimitro from the
Hi guys,
SafeStake,
how you
and
doing?
we also have Marco from the SafeStake. Hello, Marco.
Hello, guys.
Great. Today we'll be talking about the SafeStake product and their solutions, which I believe is related to DVT and staking. So let's first pass the ball to Chris to let us know how all of this work. What's your solution, and how can this help everyone?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Remy. Yeah, so we have SafeStake. It is a DVT staking solution for Ethereum, and I just let's see, we'll get into it.
What
What
are
is
let
the
me
Yeah?
interrupt you here. What
Oh
are
yeah, sure.
DVT solutions like
Oh
for people who don't know about them?
oh sure. So distributed validator technology is a new cutting edge technology. That is in the staking world. And what it does is it essentially splits a validator key into shares and allows the validator to be run on multiple nodes instead of a single node. Um, Decentralization, security, fault tolerance, all that kind of stuff comes into play with DVT. Keeping validators online is really what we're talking about here, as well as promoting the general decentralization of the Ethereum ecosystem, which is heavily being talked about, as we all know, in the spaces out there right now. So things like censorship and other things that come along with centralization. One of the major goals, I think, of every DVT solution out there is to help the ecosystem decentralize, um, which is really why it was created to begin with. So, does that help? Do you want me to
Yeah,
go
I
into
mean,
that a little bit more?
that's pretty detailed, but I'm sure as you go through your presentation, we'll see more of it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I didn't really necessarily want to, I know there's been other people here who have talked about DVT. I didn't want to necessarily reiterate and be redundant on points that that people may have already heard. So, but sure, stop me anytime. I can clarify something.
Chris, can I ask you like a quick preliminary question?
Yeah, sure.
Is SafeStake a direct competitor to OVO and SSB?
If you want to use those terms,
let me answer this question. Allow me answer it. I would rather say OVO and SSV and SafeStake are major contributor in the distributed validator technology sector, focus on Ethereum. We don't have to be a direct competitors, because
but they're like roughly equivalent technologies, or they serve different purposes.
Yes or no. OVO and SSV all building the distributed validator technology in Go, but we are probably the first Rust implementation. So,
cool. Okay.
And as an infrastructure, diversity is key. That's why Ethereum need multiple clients for execution layer, multiple clients for consensus layer, and that's why we focus on to deliver the first Rust implementation for the DVT infra.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hopefully to benefit the ecosystem.
Great. Yep. And again, we will get into a lot of this in here. But what Marco said is true there. I don't think we necessarily need to look at each other as competitors, but more as contributors, that kind of thing. Sorry. Infrastructure protocol. Again, we talked about this on here basically. It does, our solution does run on top of Lighthouse and acts as a trust minimized middle layer, essentially. How does it work? Again, similar to other DVT solutions, we split the validator private key into 4 shares. It's a 4 operator construct, so 3 are always required to create a data signature that's equivalent to that of the original. Not the same, but equivalent, and it'll do the job. And the validator will continue to attest. Obviously operating one operator to be offline, compromised, performing routine maintenance, whatever might happen. And again, the validator can still sign its data.
Are these 4 operators on an additional network so that they can coordinate their work?
They are. So maybe I should probably let Marco answer that, but it's a permissionless in-out operator system where the only thing that they need to know is the IP of the other operators on the network. Marco, do you want to talk to that a little bit?
Would you please repeat the question, Remy?
So like these operators that are working in synergy, do they have to be like in coordination with each other? Like do they have to be in a separate like network so that they can like sign their messages together?
So actually, we have a registry smart contract to handle all the operator node registration and validator registration on chain. So when a new validator come on board, register on SafeStake network to delegate the validation task to the 4 operator node, which we call operator committee during the validator setup. So this 4 operator will just doing handshake and running the MPC or TSS vessel setting scheme on a host consensus basis. Then to aggregate the prior key side message and proposed block to the beacon. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. So the ecosystem is pretty similar to others, where staker, we have validators, operators, and our DAO. And of course, the stakers or validators are going to pay a monthly fee that is currently in our native token state. That's currently being rebranded, if you will, to a new token. So that'll have a new name. But essentially the tokenomics is, pay a monthly fee to use to the operators and a network service fee to the Parastate DAO. And as you can see here, this is how it works. So pretty simple there, pretty straightforward.
So if my understanding is correct, this is not only a DVT solution, but also some kind of like liquid staking protocol as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's a combo.
So the state token will have this liquid staking value where people will be able to reuse that token for DeFi or whatnot, right?
Not exactly. The token will be our native token will be used as a payment token on SafeStake network. Yeah, because we just design the whole business model as a decentralized SaaS, decentralized staking services platform. So because the validator will come on board SafeStake, they don't have to run any hardware. They just stick the Ether on the beacon and dedicate the validation task to the operator committee they selected, right? So and all the hardware are actually performing by the operator node who need to run the hardware. One the SafeStake operator node, as well as the GET client, Lighthouse client, etc. So the validator need to pay subscription fee to the operator, and operator just earn the subscription fee. Yeah.
So there's a
Because
full
they are only service
separation.
provider.
There's a full separation in terms of like who pays for the actual stake value and who runs the nodes and who are the operators, right?
Yeah, correct. Operator running hardware, they don't need
Yep.
to provide any asset, right? Validator provide asset. They don't need to run any hardware.
I see.
And I think to further clarify, so the state token or whatever the new name is going to be, let's call it the state token for now, is that payment device, Remy. But what you're talking about is the liquid staking, and that is where when you deposit, I'm going to get to that in our stages. That's going to come in stage 2, but they'll get a 1-to-1 liquid staking token that they can use in DeFi. So there's your separation. It's
I see.
the state token is not the liquid. It's so
Maybe I'm
just
just
to
too
further-
early in your slides.
Yep, not a problem. No worries. Yeah, we're taking this in stages. Again, not an uncommon concept here in this space. Stage 1 is our current testnet stage. It supports 32 ETH deposits. The liquid staking is not part of this stage, to be clear. This is straight up DVT with a 32 ETH deposit, essentially testing the DVT functionality by itself. Okay, the 4 operators, can 3 continue to attest, that kind of thing. Okay.
Is that number flexible, or is it always going to be 4 operators?
I believe it's flexible in the future, depending on your financial situation. But for now, the testing is straight up 4 for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, good.
But in the
Yeah, good to know,
future,
yeah.
Marco, correct me if I'm wrong, you should be able to pick 6 or 8. It'll just cost you more.
From technical perspective, we can increase it, but at this moment we think for operator node to organize as an operator committee will be the best solution between security, robotics, and cost effectiveness, because when you increase the node to organize a operator committee, the hardware cost increase, the communication cost increase. So you have to balance this trade-off.
Okay. So that's stage 1. That's where we're currently at. Again, to reiterate. Now, stage 2, this is where your staking pool and liquid staking functionality will come into play, be introduced via mini pool architecture, and it'll also lower the staking threshold to 8 ETH. So in this stage, someone on our network running an operator node, let's say they have 8 ETH, they want to deposit that, they become an initiator. They activate the mini pool, and the remaining 24 ETH come from the liquid staking pool. Okay. Very similar to, and then again, as I put in the notes here, similar to Lido and Rocket Pool, again, nothing new, 1-to-1 staked ETH tokens representing your deposit. You get those back. You can trade them, reinvest in other DeFis, whatever you want to do with them, they're liquid. All good there.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt, Chris. I want to make some supplement for the stage 2 feature, because I think the stage 2 feature is the core part of the whole SafeStake platform, and we are the first one to design this kind of hierarchical operator layer. Why we name hierarchical? Because during the stage 2, we will introduce a new role, a new network role, who is initiators. This initiator is first should be a operator node, and this initiator will provide a ether deposit to activate a mini pool. And actually, this a ether, the initiator deposit on the mini pool bear the risk fund liability. What that means? It means all kind of selection penalty, if any, happening on Beacon, you will get the penalty deducted from the balance of this a ether first. So this makes another 24 ether from the LSD pool, which from the retail staker become a risk-free staking, you know. So that's how we decide such a hierarchical layer of different operator and retail staker from bottom up. Yeah, I think that's the major. Also, that's the major advantage and feature comparing with other solutions in the current market. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Marco. Excellent.
So this begs the obvious question. You're using the word mini pool, which is a rocket poolism. Are these smart contracts developed from scratch? Did you build on free and open source? Where did these come from?
I'm sorry? The smart contract? You mean the mini pool smart contract?
Yeah, everything that goes into it, right? This isn't trivial. Are these smart contracts that you developed from scratch? Did you build on existing work? You know, tell us a little bit about that and about the audits happening on the smart contracts.
We build the whole tech stack from scratch. Actually, the mini pool has multiple tech stack. The smart contract is not the key thing. The DKG is the key stuff, because when the initiator activate the mini pool, the initiator will pick other free node from the launchpad, from the on our front end, to organize as a committee to run the DKG protocol to create the key pair, which can control the mini pool asset. That's the key point.
Okay. So, are you using oracles with this?
No. Completely different than what's the solution from Rocket Pool. And our solution is enlightened by a bit from other peer company like Rocket Pool, SSV, and Obo. Yeah, I thanks for the enlightenment by this peer company, but we actually make a innovation from bottom up. We understand that Rocket Pool rules leverage a DAO and to manage Oracle to monitor whether the mini pool operator will front run to claim all the ether when they exit from the country, right? In the SafeStake architecture, we don't need, because we run DKG from very beginning.
Got it.
So there's no one single party can control meaningful asset. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have an in-depth article that goes into, this is why we don't need oracles, I think that would be interesting, since that's one of the risks. Can you talk about the smart contract upgrades? Who controls that? Are these smart contracts immutable? Are they upgradable? And if they're upgradable, who controls upgrades?
Yeah, there will be if you are referring to the mini pool contract upgrade. Yeah, we agree that there will be a admin role to control the upgrade, but we will limit it the parameter such admin role can update.
So how are the smart contract upgrades controlled on a technical level? Is that a multi-sig? Is it a DAO? How do you have that controlled?
At the current stage, we haven't planned a DAO to upgrade the contract at this moment, but we may consider to introduce a DAO in the future, because right now all we are focusing on is build up this DKG scheme to create this mini pool, and then to enable LSD pool on top of this mini pool as a faucet, right? So
I think what I'm hearing is that the team can make the unilateral decision to upgrade the pool, the contracts, but that is subject to revision. Is that right?
Yeah, at this moment, correct. The core team will,
Got it.
At the very beginning, will control the smart contract upgrade, but just limited the authorization with a specified parameter. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me pivot for a second and ask you a couple of questions around decentralization. So you're saying, we're a middle layer. We've heard that from Obo as well, and we work with Lighthouse. What does your road look like to support all existing clients?
Support all the what kind of client?
All consensus layer clients. All consensus layer clients.
Yeah,
current and future.
Yeah, that's a good question, indeed. But to be honest, we are not a big team at this moment. We just have less than 20 core devs, so that's why we we focus on to deliver the first Rust implementation, which use Lighthouse first, and if all these infrastructure running smoothly, we may have bandwidth to support other consensus clients. Yeah.
Got it. Understood. Are you looking at becoming or getting in line with? Not sure that's the right word I want to use. I'm trying to be careful with my wording here. Are you aware of the existing DBT spec, and are you looking to align with that spec?
I don't understand what's your question point to.
So basically, what we're seeing right now is and this is very much my own perspective, right? What I appear to be observing is a bit of a fracturing of effort in the DBT space. There is a specification similar to what we see on the consensus layer. However, that specification currently has one client with a couple more in the pipeline. And there are a lot of people working on DBT outside of the official spec. So this leads to a bit of fracturing, whereas in the consensus layer, typically, the way we do decentralization is we have a spec, and then multiple clients implement that spec, and that's how we get to 5 consensus layer clients, currently 4 execution layer clients, and so on, right? A DBT spec exists, but it looks like not everybody is on board with actually following the spec and implementing that. Instead, we see competing implementations. That goes a little bit into, I think, the earlier questions of, do you see yourself as competitors? So my question there very simply is, are you looking to align with the DBT spec?
Yeah, actually, at this moment, at least we are aligned with the Ninehouse DBT specs.
All right, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Moving along, let's see. Stage 3 is pretty much the exact same thing as stage 2, except for it's going to further lower that ETH staking threshold down to 0.1 ETH. The initiator role will stay. It's just the pool will have smaller deposits. Okay, let's see. Architecture, as Marco mentioned, stage 2 is really the flagship to get to. So this kind of walks you through how the architecture works, as far as SafeStake kind of sitting in there as the middle layer. Again, here's where we're providing that improved redundancy, fault tolerance, and security. Not that we're not in the stage 1. It's just again, this is where we're looking to get eventually, and probably not that far down the road. This helps us stay true to that original goal of decentralization and further expands the validator base with that lower staking threshold, which we feel is important to keeping things decentralized, making them more decentralized. This is how the validator registration flows with an 80th deposit, again in stage 2. So as you can see, where the deposit happens, we're selecting the operators. Protocol runs the DKG, and the rest takes place.
I'll interrupt you here. And
Sure.
maybe I'm still early, but how exactly is the distributed key generation protocol is going to work? And maybe we'll see that later on.
Again, I'm going to defer to Marco for exactly how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think for this part we can continue another presentation when this feature is launched on the testnet. But basically, the DKG code actually is already live in our current node source code iteration. But we need some front end process to activate it. That's what, for example, now we should work out this initiator new role on which registry smart contract. So to enable the process can be activated through the front end. Just like how Obo launched the launchpad, right? So they need some front end process to activate the whole DKG process among different operating nodes.
So I'm guessing you have like some kind of web interface where all the operators can go and like create this distributed key or something?
Yeah, correct. Basically, we expect we'll provide the most simplest MVP on next stage testnet. to encourage people come on board to test this function. But in view of the mini pool, actually the mini pool asset are actually controlled by the operator during the mini pool setup. So we will require the initiator to choose minimum 2 operator node from the SafeStake DAO at the beginning. So that's something we have a restriction from security perspective, because you can imagine initiator will deposit a Ether as a risk asset, right, to bear liability to any loss of any selection penalty. But another 24 will actually come from the LSD pool, which the smart contract are controlled by the core team, upgradable at the very beginning. So with this limitation and restriction, we can at least make sure there's no single party have full control for the multiple asset. Yeah.
All right. I'll let you keep on, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Remy. Just a few points. We've already talked about a bunch of these things, but again, we're written in Rust, and Rust is excellent for memory-related bugs, keeping those away. Let's see, we're using hot stuff as we mentioned before for the operator consensus. It is the first partially synchronous BFT replication protocol. It's a bit more robust than IBFT, QBFT. So more validator effectiveness. If a node is offline, when we're testing, better effectiveness, better slashing protection.
So this hot stuff consensus protocol is like a separate network that all of these operators have to connect to, right?
It's
more.
Exactly.
Maybe let me answer Remy's question. Not exactly. It's just the hot stuff is just running within the operator committee. For example, your VA, which is on SafeStake, and you select 1, 2, 3, 4 this follow to delegate your validation task. So these 4 nodes organized as a operator committee will run hot stuff consensus to aggregate the private key.
And so this is like a separate like communication layer, right? So that they can like
yeah, correct.
All
yeah,
right.
Because they need to achieve consensus to work. Yeah.
That confirms my initial understanding.
Yeah, and actually this how the robustness of DVT comes from. Let's say if you are running a solo node on home, if your node is down, you get a penalty slash, right? But if you delegate your validator to this operator committee organizes 4 different nodes, so based on the fault tolerance consensus protocol, we can allow 1 single node down, and this committee can still achieve consensus, sign messages, and propose block to the beacon, fulfill validation tasks. So that's how the robustness lay in. Yeah.
Understood.
Thank you.
As we talked about before, DKG without a trusted leader. built in at the protocol level for enhanced key security, eliminates those points of failure. Probably as Marco had mentioned, maybe when we get to stage 2, we could have another call where we start to get into more of the technicalities there. But as Marco said, it's built in, it's there right now in our code. It requires that initiator to activate it, if you will. So I think we could revisit that at another time to get more in depth. Someone also asked about an article, and we do have a blog article. I could share that with the EthStaker community after, which gets more into depth about the DKG protocol itself in SafeStake. So I think that would help as well.
Sure.
Okay. Again, just going over more with DKG here. I don't think we need to beat a dead horse, but it is very, very important in the whole DVT world. So it bears mentioning a few times here. As Marco mentioned, no single entity ever holds the private key. No one can gain control. No one can steal staking rewards. There's also an extra layer of security to prevent bad actors from, reconstructing original keys through inactive key shares, operators holding, inactive key shares. So secret sharing and periodic removal of those key shares and refreshes are happening, so that anything that might be gained by a potential attacker through a compromise is pretty much useless. It is useless after those shares are renewed. So a little bit of an additional layer there. It's also more cost efficient than running a solo validator node. So you can see the hardware. You can see same settings, solo node versus an operator committee, and the amount of validators that can be handled there. So it's much more efficient. Just a kind of a little slide about us as a team, and the people working in the background on the coding, mostly showcased here. And then to answer that question, how does SafeStake help stakers? We believe that we've taken a unique approach to the DVT world, and offering, built right into the solution, flexibility, liquidity, from things like Lido and Rocket Pool and others that are out there. Similar price point, with the DVT solution giving you that key security, that slashing protection, and that validator effectiveness and reliability. Just wanted to leave you guys also through my presentation, just letting you know that our testnet is open. We're looking for people to help us test. We've got a number of people out there that are joining as we speak. Dimitro's going to show, I believe, the Explorer, so that you guys can see kind of what's going on over there. And take a look at our website, learn more about us, read our blog, and by all means, we encourage everyone to join us on testnet.
Do you know how many people you currently have on this Galileo testnet?
Right now, yeah, like I said, Dimitra, I think, is going to show you the dashboard, but I believe the last time I looked, there were 17 operators on there and 76 validators. Now I have to also put an asterisk next to that, in that we did have to update our code, and we merged a new iteration which reset the test net back to 0. We did have quite a bit more than that. We're rebuilding those numbers. At one point, we had about 278 validators and upwards of 60 or so active operators. So we're building those numbers back up, but we literally just got the new code merged, and a significant bug worked out of that code last week. So those numbers are about a week old or so.
All right. I think we are good to check out those dashboards you guys have.
Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen here. Stop share. There we go. And
Okay, guys,
Dimitra, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Let me share my screen, guys. Okay, I believe you should see it now.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Great. So, as Chris already mentioned, we have ongoing incentivized testnet currently for SafeStake. And here you can see testnet, our official testnet page, which is testnet SafeStake XYZ. So it will give a chance to our community users to take part in our testnet, to win rewards, and to try themselves in staking, to help a project to grow. For now, users have two options, two roles. As it was discussed previously, user can become a validator and operator. For this quick demo, I'll show you how to become a validator. So we just click on Run Validator button, and we have two options. And I believe you all know how to run first option because it's create new validator. When we press on create new, it goes to a Ethereum Launchpad, and we have to register our validator on Ethereum Launchpad. So it means to go to all the steps there to deposit early ETH, to generate keys, and to basically to register validator from 0. And here is what we should do before adding it. And the second option is a second step, I will put it that way, is to import already registered validator to SafeStake network, which I'll be doing right now. Basically, already registered validator on the Garly Launchpad and already connected my wallet, because it takes some time, especially for now, to register it on the Launchpad. So the next thing we do is to import our validator key, which is basically already have it. I just put my key store key, which I generated using our keygen application, and put the password, which I already have saved. Basically, as already was discussed, the user will need state tokens, test state tokens to be able to register validator.
Is this where the key will be split?
I believe I'll give Marco
you'll
chance
see.
to Chris to answer.
Yeah. It basically then will bring you through where you're going to choose your 4 operators. You're going to.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we have possibility to select operators. Choose discussed. I'll select 4. So far, as it was mentioned, we starting almost from zero. So the old validators that the operators which took part before merge should rejoin, which takes time. So we don't have, as you see, too many of them. But I believe we'll have much more of them in the upcoming days or weeks, because before merge we had like 300 of validators. So I just select 4 operators which foundation registered, which are working well, and of course user is able to choose any operator from community member, which is free to add their operators using our guides, which they can find on YouTube or on GitHub. I press the next. I do the confirmations, and there are 2 possible transactions. We need to approve our state tokens, and we need to confirm our validator with another transaction. And there are also 2 possibilities. We can have a yearly possibility to run the validator yearly and a monthly. I'll select a second option because there is a difference in the tokens needed to do so. So I just click on approve button, and there is a transaction which I should confirm to data faster. I'm just I don't know.
Yeah, Girly is having some large gas fees right now.
Last days, right? It's hard.
So you're essentially like buying operator services.
That's exactly right, Rami. You're paying the operators to,
run your own
run that
validator.
threshold signature, hold that key share, and sign that data for you every time. Yep, that's the long and short. And then, I think really the point of the demo is it's a very simple setup. It'll become even more turnkey, but this is what we have right now for users to interact with us and test. So Dimitro, while that's working in the background, could you show them the Explorer and maybe a validator?
Sure.
Remember that validator I asked about with the missing operator node to show them DBT in action?
Sure, Chris. So this is Explorer page, which is explorer testnet.safestake.xyz, and here you have basically stats, these operators, validators, and Ethereum staked. And if you go to, for example, validator view, you will see all the list of all validators and all operators which they are using. For example, let's select second one, and we will see basically which is active, the performance of the operators, and succeed duties, which is have validator and operators. However, sometimes due to inactivity of one operator, it's possible that one operator is not working. In that case, basically you'll see that 3 operators. Let me select. I'm doing this one. Yeah, here. So we can see that one operator basically is inactive, has low performance, but 3 operators are still active. So the validator is active also. So user have a chance to look through his performance and to adjust. Also, it's possible to, for example, remove validator and edit one more time using other operators, which is could be an option if one of the operators is not working. And user can also check statistics on Explorer, and also we have some kind of website which is prepared for testnet, where users can switch for their validators, operators, and basically see their performance in the testnet for the last of the good examples. Not active person. Yeah, for the last weeks, for example, was active or not active, and for example, operators which performance they had. Of course, as I mentioned, there was some kind of pause break in the testnet because of code merge, but basically most recent snapshots will be there in a couple of days. And we're taking snapshots from our GitHub, which every user have chance to go and to see how what's the performance of their validator, active or not active, and operators which they created or which they're using for their validators. Yeah, I believe traction finished. It's good news. So we just run a validator and waiting that the transaction is completed. This is last transaction, by the way. So after it completed, everything should work shortly, because of course there will be some time needed to for validator to become active in the network.
So when you click on that button, is that when the shares are sent to all of these 4 operators, like the key shares?
Marco, please confirm, but I believe yes.
So
this transaction is to fulfill the operator committee setup. So once the operator committee set up, it will trigger the key split and distribution. Yeah.
So that's when they can start running this validator.
Correct. Yeah. If the validator is active on Beacon. Yeah.
Some time is needed to transaction to be confirmed.
Yeah, and transactions
case,
on Girly are quite slow because of gas usage and gas
I
price.
think people are doing a Chapella upgrade these 2 days. So I'm not
Girly
sure.
is a mess right now, so it's totally
they're testing the withdrawal, right? Maybe.
But you'll see, for example, something like this in one transaction is confirmed. So you'll see 4 operators which have good performance, and we need, of course, to wait some time for validator to become active and to succeed to show all succeed duties, which is basically also some time is needed to do it. But this is how a quick demo of validator setup looks like.
interesting.
Thank you, Dimitri.
Thank you, Dimitri.
So Remy, I'm not sure if the call is 1 hour.
That's what we initially planned. Yeah. Did you have anything else to talk about?
Before it ends, I'd like to answer one question. That it's a little bit security issue. There's member ask, can we have multiple DVT solutions? The answer is you cannot deploy your validation private key in 2 different DVT platforms at the same time. It will cause your validator slash,
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same that we've always had, right? Which is that keep your key in one location. It's a very good point. Please do go on. We cannot emphasize this enough.
Awesome. If that's did you have anything else to talk about?
I want to talk about a little bit my thought about the presentation of yesterday that Justin J doing in the Staking Rewards community. I know Justin just proposed 2 major expectation about the staking. on Ethereum post Shanghai merge. Right? They Justin expect that the staking ratio will continue to grow in a around 2 years window. The exact number he mentioned is actually 865 days, and there will be a maximum 18 validators, new validators on board, and I will agree with him about this estimate. So that will lead the staking ratio and the validator base triple times of the current one in the future 2-year cycle, 2-year window. So that's why we don't even need to compete with anyone else. We just need to compete with ourselves, and if we can run the infrastructure stable and smoothly, our target to get 10% market share in this future 2 years window according to the market growth, right? And the second point Justin expect is because Ethereum Foundation encourage expanding the solo staker base, right? Justin, the major reason Justin mentioned is because solo staker has 0 fee, comparing with the 25 fee from Coinbase staking at this moment, right? And I slightly disagree with him about this for 2 major reasons. First of all is from a cost efficiency perspective. You can ask friends nearby who running a solo node, how many validators they can run actually by themselves, maybe 100 maximum, because 100 means 3,200 Ether. So and under 100 with 100 validator, you still need to run a full client, Lighthouse full client. According to our cost structure, we run one get full client and Lighthouse full client support 8 different operator node at this moment. The hard cost, the cost per month is roughly around 10K US dollar. So but to the professional staking service provider can bring down this cost maybe just 20% or even 1/10%. So from the cost efficiency perspective, solo staker right now cannot compete with the professional one. And the second one is robust. Just what I mentioned during our demo, solo staker, if they have single point fair, right, which will bring down their whole performance rate and then bring down their staking yield. But the fractional staking service provider can run the hardware more robust, and that's why I'm sure that distributed validator technology will be essential for the whole Ethereum post consensus, because with the help of the distributed validator technology, we can actually help with the current solo staker with this DVT infrastructure and tuning. They can bring down their costs. They can improve their robustness. At least they can compete with the current professional staking service provider at some scale. So eventually, the goal of Ethereum Foundation are met actually, because this the distributed validator technology will improve the diversity of the current staking base and expand the validator base. Yeah, that's what we want to do and what we want to contribute to the ecosystem. Yeah.
Great. I believe Yorick has one last question.
Well, I have a comment. First, I think that is excellent, right? So we've heard from people who are in parts of the world where internet and power aren't stable. And we've heard from them that they're saying DVT is the first time I can actually solo stake, because previously it was impossible, right? Even if it's just myself, power and internet goes out often enough that I cannot run a solo validator. But now with having 4 distributed, I can. So that's excellent. It really goes to what we are at EthStaker, which is encourage people to solo stake and make it possible for them, even maybe if their home situation isn't ideal for power and internet. So the question I had was one that is near and dear to Fizz, our dear leader's heart. You spoke of getting to 10% of possibly the LST market, right? Liquid staking token market. Are you willing to hard limit to 22% or less?
I think this question will relate it to one question: is the DVT space a winner take all? I would rather say a good DVT infrastructure can acquire big market share, but it won't be winner take all, because the whole network need the infrastructure to be diversified. So, but what we can do is we can actually enable the current different LSD pool to plug in on top of our mini pool to be faucet, to leverage our DKG scheme, our distributed validator technology scheme, to improve their current security of the LSD pool. So that's what we want to do after the mainnet launch. That because we don't want only to run our own LSD pool. Maybe we can plug in the current Lido LSD pool, right? Plug in anyone who want to join the distributed validator technology eco. Yeah.
Fully understood. So for your own LST pool, are you happy to limit to 22%?
Yeah, I think 22 is really good. Really good number. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Because within this 2-year window, my own KPI is at least 10%.
Right, got it.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
All right, I think that's all the questions that we had for this call. I'd like to thank the SafeStake team for joining us. I'd like to thank all the EthStaker crew for joining us as well. I believe this was a great discussion. I believe we need more team to build on Ethereum, and if we have more DVT solution, that's even a plus for everyone. Before we leave, before we let you go, we have a POAP for this call. I believe the link to claim your POAP was sent in the YouTube chat. So if you want to get the POAP for this call, make sure to go to the link. You will need to pay a small fee to get this POAP. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time for our next community call. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Remy. Thank you, team.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.